As you all know, 2021 was the year I declared that I was going to better myself and unlearn all the unhealthy responses to the things in my life that I've experienced. I've been on a self-discovery journey, and through my journey, I've learned a lot about myself. One thing that I've learned that I'm really trying to work on is my tendency to people please. Raise your hand if you're a people pleaser. Oh, just me? Okay. People pleasing on the outside might sound like a good thing, often confused with being a nice, helpful person. Yes, of course, these are great character traits to have. Where it becomes harmful to self is when you say yes to everyone and everything in hopes that people will like you and to avoid conflict. This leads to having no clear boundaries, and like we learned in my previous self-love video, boundaries equals respect. Having a lack of boundaries can play out in you struggling with your sense of self, not knowing what you like or what you want to do with your life. But let's back up. What is a people pleaser? Well, Merriam-Webster states that a people pleaser is a person who has an emotional need to please others at the expense of their own needs and desires. People pleasing is a trauma response that we learned during childhood to keep us safe. Good thing is, it is a learned behavior, so it can be unlearned. If you were raised by a narcissistic caregiver or a caregiver who struggled to regulate their moods so you felt like you had to walk on eggshells, or if you felt like your caregiver's happiness relied on you, maybe you felt like it was your job to be the peacekeeper of the family, or simply that you couldn't say no to the things that you did not want to do. All of these scenarios may play out in a fawning trauma response, where we seek to appease to keep the peace. For me, I grew up with a father who battled alcohol addiction and projected his unresolved childhood trauma onto his family. He ran his household like a dictator. He had total power and control over everyone who lived in his house, as he called it. If he felt like his power and control was being challenged, he would use force. Verbal and physical abuse were no stranger to me growing up. But within doing my own shadow work, I came to the conclusion that the root of my people pleasing is being a mood reader. Because my father's moods were unpredictable, I learned at a young age to dictate my moods around his, constantly reading his mood to make sure he was okay, because if he was okay, that meant I was okay. I learned to play small and alter myself to please his ever so changing mood. The problem is, I carried this parent-pleasing tendency with me as I grew up. And I read every relationship, platonic or romantic. I read every mood. Everything had to mean something, except it doesn't always. But I used to think it did. As an adult, I suppressed my feelings in order to keep the peace, avoid rejection, and avoid shame and guilt. Ultimately pleasing those around me because during childhood, it made me feel safe. Now as an adult, it serves no purpose. It leaves me feeling like a doormat who's tired and puts all my needs on hold in order to help others. This often leads to feelings of resentment. Still not sure if you are a people pleaser? Well, I'm gonna read you off a list of people pleasing character traits. And if these resonate with you, maybe you are a people pleaser, like me. Do you always put others' needs before your own? You avoid conflict at all costs. You help people even if you are extremely busy. You agree with people even though on the inside you feel otherwise. Constantly asking others what you should do. Deflect compliments and praise. Deeply afraid of failure. Don't ask for help. Overwork yourself. You pretend like you like things to the extent that you've actually forgotten what you like. Do you tend to gaslight yourself? Have you ever asked yourself these questions? Why don't they like me? Am I being too sensitive? Why did I provoke them? Use your own discernment to determine if you are indeed a people pleaser. I'm not here to self-diagnose. I'm just here to help. Now that I did my best to try to explain, I want to give you guys 5 things that I have implemented in my life to help me stop people pleasing. 1. Say no. No is not a bad word. Let me repeat that. No is not a bad word. I read somewhere that we treat no like it is intrinsically tied to malice, as if the sole purpose of the word is to hurt, damage, or harm. But in reality, no is one of the most loving responses. No can give us the pause we need to prevent burnout. No can help us build healthy relationships through boundaries. No teaches others how to respect us and us how to respect ourselves. No can keep us from enabling a friend who is seeking validation through their hurtful actions and choices. Now I know what you're thinking. How can I go from years of being conditioned to say yes to all of a sudden saying no? You know when a toddler gets in that phase where their favorite phrase is no? That is the same type energy you need to have. My therapist told me to say no to everything so I can get in practice of feeling comfortable with the word no. I'm not gonna lie, I felt so much shame at first when saying no. I said no to everything till it didn't feel foreign to me anymore. It became easier. At first this will be hard, but I found that using phrases like, let me think about it, then even if you have to go into the bathroom and practice saying no, and then come out and say no. Also responding with, no, I have plans is a good one. You're probably thinking, well, wouldn't that make me a liar? I don't want to lie. If you can think of anything else you'd rather be doing, then you have plans. Plans doesn't have to be this big extravagant outing. Maybe you just want to unwind with your hair up, your favorite beverage, and some shameless TV. Well, guess what? Those are plans. So therefore, you were not lying. Once I got comfortable with the word no, I was actually able to decipher what I actually wanted to say yes to. 2. Stop over apologizing. You are apologizing because you are concerned with what people think of you. It's almost like you are apologizing to cover your bases and ensure that people still like you. As people pleasers, we are so quick to say sorry for the smallest infringements. And if anything were to go wrong, we believe that our behavior was the reason. So we are so quick to apologize in hopes that we can fix our wrongdoing. We constantly feel like failures because we are constantly apologizing, thus making us feel like we are always doing something wrong. This might be hard to break, but instead of apologizing all the time, which can be annoying to people who aren't people pleasers, try replacing I'm sorry with gratitude. Instead of saying I'm sorry, say thank you. I had someone tell me one time that I apologized too much, which threw me off. Because aren't we supposed to apologize when we mess up? The answer is only if the apology is warranted. An apology is meant for times when you did something by an accident or on purpose that caused someone hard feelings. For all other times, resort to saying thank you rather than apologizing. 3. Speak up. Express your opinions. Like I said, growing up, I was always so scared to speak my mind freely. I never wanted to rock the boat. I wanted to keep the peace so I could feel safe as long as possible. So I learned to play small and keep my opinions to myself, to only talk if I was being directly spoken to. I remember in school, I was never the kid to throw their hands up to answer the teacher's question. I wanted to be that kid, but I had so much fear. So I kept my mouth shut and listened to kids shamelessly attempt to answer the question. It always killed me when no one could answer the question correctly, so the teacher would give the answer and it was what I was thinking in my head, but felt like I wasn't allowed to share out loud. Fear is the only thing that gets smaller the closer you get to it. I am learning to speak my mind. If you only knew how long I wanted to create this YouTube channel, but held myself back because of fear. Fear that no one would watch. Fear of sounding dumb. Fear of looking dumb. Fear of saying the wrong thing. I'm so happy that I'm working through this because I'm learning that all the good things in life are found on the other side of fear. On this side, I'm learning to believe in myself and prioritize my needs. I'm also learning that not self-advocating for myself doesn't make me humble, it makes me a pushover. You have to take credit for who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table, because if you don't, no one will. Your quality of life is determined by your quality of communication. If you don't speak up, then no one will know what you want, not even you. So screw those self-limiting beliefs. I want to hear what you have to say. I care. 4, time limit on energy. Only give what you can. Let's say someone asks you to help them move. If all you have out of your day to give is an hour, then all you have is an hour to give. Don't put your life on hold or bend over backwards to help others if you don't have the space to do so. You don't have to spend all day helping them move. A lot of us tend to spread ourselves thin, bending over backwards to help others, that we literally don't have time for ourselves. And then when we need help, typically it's ghost town, leading to feelings of resentment. In case you didn't know, giving things like your time and energy in hopes of getting it back isn't giving, it's manipulation. So only give what you can with no intentions of getting back what you gave. 5. Balance. Whenever you do something nice for someone else, you have to do something nice for yourself in return. What I realized was the reason why I couldn't show up for myself is because I was too busy showing up for others. Don't get me wrong, I love that quality about me. I love that I go above and beyond for the people that I love. But gone are the days where I put others' needs above mine. If I give my time and space to somebody, then I am gonna do something to replenish that within myself. Life is about balance. You have to find your happy medium. Extra tip, be kind to yourself. That needs no explanation. I found that I was most authentic when I stopped trying to be everything to everyone and just started trusting that being me was enough. As always, coming to you real, no filter. Thanks for watching. XOXO.